Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Happy people, my name is Miftahul in accordance with the segment given by Mrs. Wahida Abdullah. Here I will be present my mapping that I have made regarding economic growth. Previously, we were currently familiar with the word economy. Number 1. So what is meant by economic growth next? So economic growth is an increase in the ability of the economy to produce goods and services. In the other words, economic growth refers to changes that are quantitative in nature and are usually measured using gross domestic data or per capita output income. The notion of economic growth has two views in general and conventional. The first one in general, economic growth is defined as an increase in the ability of an economy to produce goods and services. Economic growth is one of the most important indicators in analyzing the economy development that occurs in a country. The second in the conventional economic viewpoint, economic growth is largely a service to material well-being. Economic growth factors are investment sources that are identical with capital, human resources which are identical with labor, entrepreneurial spirit, and technology advancement. Number 2. Furthermore, namely the calculation of economic growth that are two ways that are usually used calculation in real terms and also use the calculation of nation income. The first is growth is usually calculated in real terms, that is, the terms inevitability of inflation to eliminate the distorting effect of inflation on the price of the good product. The second is measurement of economic growth using the calculation of nation income. Economic growth or economic growth theory usually refers to the potential for output growth, namely product at full employment. Number 3. As a field of study, economic growth is generally distinguished from development economy. The first is basically the study of how countries can advance their economies. The first is basically the study of how countries can advance their economies. The latter is study of the economic aspect of development process in low-income countries. Number 4. There are two types of economic growth, namely intensive growth and extensive growth. The first is intensive growth is a growth strategy in which the company reviews current business opportunities to improve performance. There are 3 possible intensive growth strategies: a market penetration strategy, a market development strategy, and a product development strategy. The second, namely extensive growth in economic, is the growth in the quantity of output product based on the expensive of quality of input Yes, this differs from intensive growth, which arises from inputs that are used more productively. For example, GDP growth caused only by an increase in population in territory will be extensive growth. Thus, broad growth is likely to expensive decline in yield. There, it is often assumed to have no effect on long-term per capita rates. Reliant on extensive growth may be understandable in the long run because it is consumed research to stunts economy growth in the long run, especially on per capita basis. It is good for the economy to grow intensely, for example, by improving technology or organization. Thirdly, shifting the limit of the economic possibilities of product outward. Okay, that's the presentation of mind mapping and regarding economic growth. Please forgive me if there are errors and shortcomings. And that is all, and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.